This session will address the power and impact of film, videos, and documentaries. Our speaker is Lynn Waymer. She is Vice President for Community Engagement for KPJR Films. Many of you, of course, have benefited from various KPJR films, including Paper Tigers. Give me a round of applause if you've seen it. Very good. And most recently, Resilience. Let me hear if you've seen that one as well. Lynn is going to be sharing her observations from many who have used these films, and we really believe that it's highly appropriate that following her comments, she will provide the induction and introduction to our brand new Michigan ACE Initiative video, which is debuting today. So you're at a movie debut, all right? That's pretty cool. So please welcome to the stage Miss Lynn Waymer. We really appreciate you being here with us.
Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I would really like to thank the Michigan ACES Initiative for all of the work, the strategy, the planning, the training, and the bringing together of this huge engaged group like I've never seen. And I've been out for 4 years doing this. I'm so excited about the work that you're doing, and I bring you good greetings of gratitude from KP, who is Karen Pritzker, our executive producer and founder of KPJR Films, and James Redford, who is the film director of Paper Tigers and Resilience. We are so thankful and appreciative that you have taken our creative work and made it exactly what we hoped and dreamed that it would be. As we have heard many times before, we really just want to get the work out, build an awareness, and put it into the hands of the people. And as Laura says, you will make wise choices, we know, and we've seen. So thank you so much for having me here today. What I am going to share with you are the media tools, the way we brought Paper Tigers Resilience into the world, what we've done with it since then, the impact that it's made, and how we plan to go forward. So that's maybe like 4 or 5 things that we're going to talk about in the time span of 20 minutes. So my goal here is to stay on time, so I may run a little fast, but I have everything that you need in the deck, including my phone number, which you are free to call me at any time. How and why documentaries drive change? Why do we do what we do? Why is it that docs drive change? The first thing is that people like to see a story. They like to see a heart, and then they like to see a conscience, and there is a need for stories of real life people. The other reason that documentary films are so impactful is that we really don't run with a business model or an ROI. We're filmmakers. We want people to see and use the information. Profitability, that's not our primary goal, so we can do what Jamie and Karen did. When they first saw the ACES information, they went out to make a movie. They found so much information that they decided that they could not do it in one film, so they created 2. They created Paper Tigers, which is what we call the heart, and then Resilience, which is our brain science. Paper Tigers came out first in 2015 at the Seattle Film Festival, followed by Resilience in 2016 at Sundance. Sundance is a really big deal for those of you who know film. You also may know that Paper Tigers was not admitted into Sundance. However, again, going into film festivals was not our primary goal. Our primary goal was to put the films whereby the community would see them, take action, and move the messaging forward, which is why we continue to go to film festivals, daily. this is a little more about paper tigers and resilience. We created a demand nationally. One of the ways that we did that was through digital media. What we did not anticipate is that it would really go worldwide. We were really not prepared to receive. I was not prepared. I am the sole full-time staff member with KPJR. I was not prepared to receive calls from South Africa about their trauma. I was not prepared to receive calls from Australia, all over the world, regarding trauma, and this was early on. So what we did was we established this broad-reaching social media presence, and then we tried to, I think I'm messing up here, we tried to contain it, but we could not. So we moved a step further and just unleashed it into the world. We set up a distributor in the UK who could then distribute paper tigers and resilience globally. And that really, I hate to quote Game of Thrones, but it unleashed the dragon. And I guess I will say that prior to coming to KPJR, I spent 25 years with HBO, in all honesty. So I retired from HBO to come and do documentary film. So Dartmouth Films began distributing resilience and paper tigers. And in that way, we started to do real impactful engagement campaigns that were aligned with film worldwide. With Dartmouth, we could go into international countries, and they would use the films to talk about their trauma, whether it was violence against women or generational trauma, a lot of war-torn countries. We also paired Jamie Redford, who literally has been around the world, from London to Kakistan over the past 4 years, as, again, a face and a voice with the films. We never sought to hold the information. One of the problems that we do see is when organizations get paper tigers or resilience and try to just hold it close and use it as what I call part of their business strategy. So the films, if they're a part of anyone's business strategy, your business is going to fail because you cannot quantify the value of the information and unleashing the information to build awareness of ACEs and childhood trauma. So what we would do to kind of counter that is to offer it free to anyone who wanted to see it. And the way we did this was through what we called a virtual screening. With me at KPJR, I have two other consultants. One is a digital media consultant. I don't know if any of you have ever worked closely with us, but her name is Keely Badger, who is the best in the world. So we figured out a new tactic for bringing the information to anyone who wants it, called a virtual screening. So we did that, and that continued to push the films out because we were seeing that people were really holding it, and they were putting requirements on how to see and when to see. And a lot of that is good because we don't want the information to be misused. We want the fidelity to remain intact. So this is what we tried to do, is to push it out digitally with brand name, the best in the field, consultants helping and guiding. So we did that with the AAP. We did it with ACEs Connection, the National Association of School Psychologists, and then we even have started doing our own. We did a Twitter town hall. With the AAP, we developed a campaign. This was our very first campaign. It was called Be the One. The AAP, they have this huge conference of like 10,000 people, but they did not have the time to really screen the film for the entire conference. So they did it, but we put a campaign around it. Be the one to make a difference in a child's life in whatever manner that you could, whether you're in law enforcement or whether you're an educator, whether you're in policy, be that one to move it forward. So little did we know, we came up with the campaign in less than 24 hours. Be the One today is, and this is a moment that I will say is probably one of the best in my career, is the top producing hashtag campaign for any documentary in the world. We touched more than 5.1 million impressions within the first 24 hours, and we garnered a following of over 2 million people. So this, again, is the brilliance of Keely Badger, our social media person. So with that following of those 2 million people, we then converted those to followers of KPJR and continue to communicate to them whatever information we have, articles, and building their awareness digitally. I don't know how many of you all have had the pleasure of meeting Jamie Redford. How many have met Jamie? No one has seen Jamie. Okay, this is why we brought Jamie into the world. He does do appearances, but the demand got so great. But once we saw the trauma at the border, it was at a point where we, KPJR, would not stand silent any longer. Typically, we don't really delve into politics within the platforms. But this is one instance where Jamie did. And I'll show you again, this is the power of media. Because after this skyrocketed resilience as well as paper tigers all over the world. Well, I think the sound.
Hi folks, this is Jamie Redford. As some of you know, Karen Pritzker and I have made 2 films with KPJR Films that deal with adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress, paper tigers and resilience. Making those films has given us a very unique and troubling perspective on the humanitarian crisis unfolding on our border with Mexico. We think of those families fleeing trauma, enduring trauma to get to our country, and then being traumatized by having their children ripped away from them as simply unacceptable and really disturbing. We're just disturbed that this is something that's happening as a matter of policy that our government thinks is a good thing to do. And I guess we're also disturbed that there's a fair amount of Americans who agree with that. And on top of that, there's an unfortunate myth about children being super resilient. They're the children, they'll get over it eventually. Well, we beg to differ. Making our 2 films has made it, all too clear to us that traumatic experiences pose a really unique and real threat to children's health, both short-term and long-term as they become adults. So because of that, we're going to release a small clip from Resilience. It explains what toxic stress is, how it works, and the risk it poses to long-term health of children, in the hopes that others will use this as an advocacy tool to speak out against this policy, this misguided policy coming out of Washington, and perhaps reach friends and family, go out to their community, even their lawmakers. Anyone that doubts what's happening on the border doesn't have long-term consequences, perhaps they'll feel differently once they see this clip. So we're sharing it with the public. We'll have a few hashtags coming out. Prevent trauma, build resilience, hashtag, all one word. There's also the hashtag Be the One. And you can follow our website, kpjrfilms.co, because we're going to be stepping into this this problem and trying to do what we can to do something for these poor families and their kids. So anyway, thanks for listening, and thanks for your time, and have a good day. Bye. Well, this is Jamie Redford. As some of you know, Karen Pritzker and I have made 2 films with KPJR Films.
Okay, so here is the clip that we released from Resilience. Again, going back to the point of people harboring the information,
reality
we
is
put
that
it out
we
into the world.
A certain amount of stress, a certain amount of anxiety to perform well. If we don't care about that exam that we're going to have tomorrow, we'll probably fail. If we're going to cross the street and a truck is coming at us, we have release of adrenaline. We have release of a hormone that we call cortisol. We want to jump out of there, and adrenaline and cortisol are going to help us do that. So there's that good amount of stress. But if all day long you're feeling like the truck is coming at you, day after day after day, that's going to take a toll on the body. And the amygdala obviously here has greater activation.
Yes.
In the PTSD. We were able to image children that had experienced trauma and compare those brain images with children that didn't have an experience of trauma and didn't have symptoms.
Right, an exaggerated fear response.
An exaggerated fear response with decreased activation in areas that we need to control that emotion, in the frontal areas.
Exposure to early adversity and trauma literally affects the structure and function of children's developing brains. So the kid next to them hits them, or the teacher reprimands them in a way that they're uncomfortable with, right? Literally what they're feeling, that activation is like there was a truck coming at them.
So literally after releasing this clip, again, back to that 2 million people all over the world, we got calls nonstop. But one of the most organized groups who took the information and used it in their country was Scotland. Scotland organized film screenings. They used the information from ACEs. They came to the United States. They bought subject matter experts there, and they have announced that they are fully a trauma-informed country, Scotland and their 5.5 million people. So that was, again, something totally unexpected, unplanned, but it was, again, the result of putting the information out there and letting the people use it to impact them as they need. So what is next for KPJR? We do have, we've extended our brand, per se, to use business language, into a book club. So we are, again, addressing these 2 million followers through books. So we've launched a KPJR book club. It's all online. You can tap into it at kpjr.co. You can go to Twitter at KPJR Films. The second book club is actually tonight between 7:30 and 8:30, and you can tweet your comments at KPJR Book Club, and the book is Childhood Disrupted, and so the author will come on. So that's, again, what we're doing to extend our brand here. Throughout all of this, we have worked with a tremendous amount of community partners who have done exceptional, innovative, creative, and real helpful tactics for their communities. So I've listed many of them here, and should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call. It's really extensive. But I do want to make mention that one of the keys that propelled Paper Tigers beyond the educational community was when we took Paper Tigers and Resilience to the White House. The beginnings of the ACEs information started with the Department of Juvenile Justice. There were 2 attorneys, the Attorney General, Eric Holder, and Carol Mason, who used it to set up a juvenile justice plan. Summer before the end of that particular administration, we took paper tigers along with the students to meet and to screen. We screened the film for 900 of their grantees across the country. And that took it into the hands of all of the service agencies. And then we went back with Resilience for screenings at the White House. And that really solidified the approach throughout the agencies. And we, although the administrations have changed, we still see the same level of support from the agencies, the federal agencies. We do have a new film coming. We've been dealing with ACEs trauma for 4 years. So the next film is all about play. Not play for children, but the benefits of play for adults. So that is coming soon. But in the meantime, I want to again congratulate you on all of the work that you have done and will continue to do. And I can't think of any better way to illustrate many of the points that I've made than to show the second Mission ACE Initiative video. As many know, the Michigan ACE Initiative created a video that was released last June and without any media budget has received nearly 5,000 views on YouTube, many with large groups. And as soon as I release this to our 2 million, it will soar. The first video, much like the first part of our documentary Resilience, focused on awareness of ACEs in Michigan and continues to be used most recently in front of the Michigan State Senate Health Policy Committee last week. This new video will provide examples and illustration of resilience approaches taking form and place in different communities in Michigan under the leadership oft-house of those individuals who have taken the Master Trainer Cohort training here in Michigan. For those who keep time, this video is 20 minutes, so we're going to dim the lights and view the new video.